eye, and I also find my eye is roaming as there is nothing to fix upon. I believe there is an image within here. Perhaps try a crop from the left lower corner to the second window down from the top, and just right and parallel to the corner bricks. See what results. I think it is a strong and I also find my eye is roaming. The exposure itself and monochrome rendering well I believe chosen. There is an image within it is just here. The composition. Perhaps that may benefit from the left lower corner to the second window down from the top. Score 2, and just right and parallel colour to the corner bricks. These cultural costumes see what results. Such vibrant colours, and the strong and I also find my eyes roaming. The exposure itself and monochrome rendering with the folded arms. There is an image as I imagine just the composition. Perhaps try a crop from the left lower corner to the second of an window down and we have the top and bottom. Score 2, and just right and parallel colour to the corner brick. The hands these are in shadow and see what results. As vibrant as I feel and I also find my eyes roaming. The exposure itself and my like rendering sharp. I believe there is an image as I imagine just the composition. Perhaps try a crop from the left lower corner to read second of an window down and we have top and bottom and just right and parallel to the corner brick. The hands are in shadow and see what results as vibrant as I feel and I also find my eyes roaming. The exposure itself and my like rendering sharp. I believe there is an image as I imagine the slide into the pool. The image captures and freezes the action, and the detail in the water splash is excellent. Unfortunately, the shadows and the closed eyes are not ideal in this composition. Possibly the winning shot was as she left the slide a fraction earlier. Score 2, Aurora Borealis. This looks really cold as we are in the northern hemisphere and the lights in the sky are amazing. The inclusion of the teepee with the smoke emitting from the chimney is great for context. I find the 2 red dots within the hedge on the left are a distraction from the otherwise fascinating image. There is a lot of noise and the pink and blue colouring in the foreground snow is not ideal. This must have been an amazing experience and wonder if the photographer was camping in the teepee. Score 2, Janie Seddon Shipwreck Motueka. Apparently, this once proud vessel, a coal-fired ship, suffered damage to her hull and was dragged to its current position by a scrap metal dealer who went broke trying to cut the steel up. A slow shutter speed has given the smooth water and streaky clouds, I believe. There is also good detail of the wreck. Monochrome rendering with the cloudy sky has made the image moody. I might suggest the central positioning of the wreck be looked at and try offsetting the wreck to the left by cropping to get a more interesting and balanced image. I like the chosen camera angle just off the starboard bow rather than broadside on. Score 2, Poor Shake Welcome. It appears the hand is offering the dog's paw for shaking. It looks like a biggish dog. The background coat detail is clear and the lighting well handled. The problem I perceive is that the paw is out of focus, and as it is in the title, I think it should be sharp. The concept is good, and zooming in to a small area creative. Score 2, moonlit ramp. I find this fascinating, a ramp leading to a building with an information sign, and I believe I can spot a display board on the decking to the left of the building. Is it a building of historical interest, I wonder? The photographer has chosen to use the central planking as the leading line along the ramp. This is one of those images where the judge laments the lack of a human element on the ramp, even a ghostly image to give interest, and I think it is a valid comment. Perhaps in this case, the side of the ramp might have given more interest. Score 3 accepted. Sea wave moving towards Cobden Beach. I can imagine walking on the beach and seeing a random wave suddenly breaking. It appears to be windy from the spray, yet the rest of the sea is quite calm. The colours in the wave are well captured and the shutter speed just right. As I look at this image, I feel a little more space for the wave to go into is needed for a balanced image. To give an idea of how a small adjustment can improve an image, try cropping out the top cloud that lifts the horizon and brings my focus to the wave. A nicely seen image, handled well in difficult light, I believe. Score 3, acceptance, fuchsia. These flowers are amazing when their detailed structure is captured. The lighting is good and focus pin sharp with a good depth of focus. The photographer has chosen central placement and vertical, and I wonder if they might try a slight rotation to make the image diagonal, as I believe it will make the image more appealing. The macro skill is excellent and the black background a good choice. Score 3, kutuku. I imagine the bird is retreating rather than hunting from its pose and has been caught mid-stride. The detail in feathers and head is pin sharp with the blurry background. The dark area at the top of the image is disappointing as it distracts. The shoreline helps contain the bird well. Score 3, acceptance, fill it with song. When I see these amazing arches and roofs, I have to admire the skill of the masons when there is no pre-stressed concrete in sight. Looking through the arch into what may be a chapel leaves me wondering what is round the corner. Is anybody there? While there are numerous tutorials online to guide where you can crop body parts in an image, I think there must be one for architecture. I feel we need to consider either above the point of the arch or just below the top, as at the moment the top edge is in no man's land and does lead out of the top of the image. The monochrome rendering brings out the texture of the stonework, and we can enjoy the flowing lines in the ceiling. Score 3, acceptance, Lonely, New Brighton, 2023. Last time I saw the pier, it looked nothing like this. I believe I am seeing vertical, intentional camera movement that has produced this impressionistic image. The pastel shades are pleasing and the critical amount of camera movement looks good. I wish the central column faded out like the others. It dominates the image and takes my eye down and out of the image. These are great fun to experiment with, trying different directions of movement and the amount. Score 3, acceptance, muddy good run. Mud, mud, glorious mud. The adult looking lovingly at the child and the child with her tongue out as she concentrates are beautifully captured in pin-sharp focus. The child might be an image on her own, though I agree the interaction is the greater appeal. I find a straight line above the heads is distracting, so recommend trying a crop down from the top edge. I can almost feel the mud as I look at the detail in the image. It must have taken a lot of washing to get rid of it. Score 3, shadow and sand. I can imagine some exotic sea serpent from the shadow, and I am wondering about how the branch was not washed up at high tide. I see sharp focus and detail of the bark. The light is just the right angle, highlighting the branch. I might suggest the creator of the image try a letterbox crop, as I believe a stronger composition results. The monochrome choice has done so well, showing textures and patterns. Score 3, acceptance on the pier. If those are seats, I wonder how comfortable they are. The cut-out figure looking out to sea adds interest. The exposure is well chosen, and the monochrome rendering brings out the weave in the chairs as well as the details in the decking. Leading lines, circles, focus are all great inclusions. I deliberated for a while whether the two chairs on the left add to the image, and I might suggest they do not. For a top-class image, possibly take the cloud smudge out, as once seen, my eye is attracted to it. This is creative, and the photographer has kept the camera down low. That adds to the composition. Score 3, acceptance, blue-eyed shag. This is an interesting bird, not a New Zealand native, I believe. That eye really does stand out. The exposure shows the head and neck feathers well, and I like the positioning within the frame against the blurry background. I feel the light was a little harsh, and that has resulted in the loss of feather detail of the lower body. I enjoyed researching the different shags, so thanks for sharing the image. Score 3, acceptance, Macquarie Lighthouse. Dr. Google tells me this lighthouse is the most impressive building in Australia near Sydney, being built in 1883. I like the low camera position, and the golden light shows the building to advantage. The cloudy sky is a bonus, I feel, and the path from the right with the fence from the left bring my eye to the subject. My only suggestion is that the sky to the right of the subject is rather bright and might be toned down or cropped, as it is a distraction. I love the 3 entrances. I suppose they are separate dwellings and access to the tower. Score 3, acceptance, Aurora Australis viewed from Taumutu. Amazing colours have been captured in this image, and I am aware of how much effort goes into capturing a scene such as this. The foreground balances the image, in my opinion, as we look across the water to the lights in the sky. There are two bright stars that I feel might be toned down or cloned out, as they do pop out at me. Images such as this make me realise how wonderful nature can be. Score 3, Acceptance, Jenny Farm in autumn. What a pretty setting, and those autumn colours are amazing. The exposure is well handled, and there is quite bright sunlight, and the buildings, partly hidden, make me wonder who lives here, and is that a barn behind the tree? As a composition about the farm, I wonder if we need the entire image. Perhaps look at a crop down to the top of the tree on the left and bring the right edge in to balance the image. This brings out the buildings more, and there are enough autumn colours to satisfy the viewer. This was taken from a pleasing viewpoint and looks to be an isolated spot. Score 4, High Acceptance, A Hard Day's Walk. This tells a tale. The trail left by the mollusk is clear as it has been left high and dry. The detail in the shell and sand is good, and the strong points are the diagonal sand lines that give context. The sunlight was bright, giving the harsh shadow, but I do not find it distracts from the image. Simple and well done. Score 4, High Acceptance, Tulip. I like this exquisite bloom, so delicate with the petal textures clearly visible. With the pin-sharp focus and excellent depth of field giving the blurry background, the positioning of the flower at a slight angle is good, compositionally. The blurry leaf does add to the image as the stalk is quite long. Score 4, High Acceptance, Shag Stretching. My research tells me there are 12 different types of shag in New Zealand, and I believe this is a pied shag. With the wings outstretched to dry off, this appears to be a well-fed bird. I like the detail I can see in the feathers, and the head is pin-sharp with a well-chosen depth of field. The position of the bird within the frame works well. Score 4, High Acceptance, Surrounded by Autumn. The building is dwarfed by the trees, and my mind thought of the story of Little Red Riding Hood, so it got me engaged. The image is well exposed, and the photographer has chosen the symmetrical format that works well. The grounds appear well maintained from the trimmed hedge. As I look at the image, I find the trees are taking my sight or something, I guess, up to the arch at the top, and wonder if the creator of the image might try cropping down from the top edge to the lateral branches to balance the image. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is a composite, as the two sides are perfect replicas. Score 4, High Acceptance, Autumn's Refuse. This is an engaging image that invites me to inspect the detail. Are those leaves frosted, and are the trees a reflection? Is it a double exposure in camera or a composite? Not really worried, as the image works for me as an abstract. The blue leaves with a hint of colour in some is interesting in itself, but the shimmering trees add the extra touch. I like this as it is. Score 4, high acceptance expressions. These young lads are great, posing for the camera and looking so happy. The exposure is good and the catch lights in their eyes show well. A slight vignette has helped focus on the boys' faces, I find. The image seems a little soft, as if there is a high noise component, but I do not think it matters in this image. Score 5, honours. Flight. This impressionist image shows birds in flight, and I believe ICM has been used. The context is discernible: water, clouds, bushes and birds, and the pastel shades merge well. The movement is spot on, and the composition, I feel, is correct. Score 5, honours, vintage ladies. My mind goes through possibilities. Is this the local amateur dramatics actresses, or is there another reason for dressing in period costume? The ladies are so elegant, and the girl has an endearing, wistful look on her face. The exposure is spot on, and the vibrant colours against the black background look great. I might suggest trying to clone out the wooden floor for perfection. I believe it is the girl's pose that makes this a winning image, with her head resting on the younger lady's shoulder. Score 5, honours, the excitement of racing. There is a skill to taking shots like this, and often the photographer is in a potentially dangerous spot if a crash occurs. The action is frozen, showing the crazy angles the bikers lean to, but there is just a touch of motion blur in the tyres that I like. The colours are well captured, and the focus on the lead riders is pin sharp. The spacing within the frame works well. Score 6, honours and best in show, someone's grandmother. An amazing portrait of this lovely lady. Where are we? What have those eyes seen? There is so much to think about. The eyes engage the viewer immediately, and the face is beautifully lit, showing the lady's weathered skin. With the pin-sharp focus and catch lights in the eyes, everything is spot on. I believe a vignette has been applied that balances the image so well. This is a great portrait.
Thanks for that, Dawn. So the first acceptance was Sea Wave Moving Towards Cobham Beach by Karen McConaughey. Fuchsia by Alan Moore. Kotuku by Peter Curtis. He's not here. Fill It With Song by Nola Sumner. Not here. Lonely New Brighton 2023 by Francesca Davies. Muddy Good Run by Lucy Ferguson. Shadow and Sand by Dawn Kirk. On the Pier by Catherine Affeld. Blue-Eyed Shag by Nicola Jackson. Macquarie Lighthouse by Thyra Colesell. Aurora Australis viewed from Taumutu by Ian Harrison. Jenny Farm in Autumn by Ron Willems. These are high acceptance. A Hard Day's Walk by Dennis Chang. Tulip by Annette Preen. Shag Stretching by Anne Yuan. Surrounded by Autumn by Janine Money. Autumn's Refuse by John Hawkins. Expressions by Newell Grenfell. These are Honours. Flight by J.K. Vintage Ladies by Tash Harris. The Excitement of Racing by Les Armand. And Honours and Best in Show, Somebody's Grandmother by Alistair Phillips.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Some lovely images there. I think Alistair's in Nepal, isn't he? Yeah. Do we have anyone here that would like to talk about their image tonight? Can we go back and I can't remember. Tash. Yay, yay. Come on, Tash. No, you come here. Come here. Oh, or I'll come to you.
So this was a Vintage Fest photo. I think they are having Vintage Fest again this year, and there's a photo competition which I won last year. The prize was a camera, pretty amateur, low-level camera, but anyhow, better than nothing. So they had lots of little 3 or 4 different sets which you could just grab models, because there's heaps of people dressed up for the pageants, and this was one of them on the Chase Lounge. Yeah, So, and they also had like a military jeep and a few things like that. So yeah, this wee girl, she was quite the poser. Lincoln, yeah.
You can let us know when it's on. We'll all go. That'd be great. Thanks. What was the one before this one? Sorry, Alan. JK's not here, is he? No. Yep. Newell? Tell us a little bit about
This is testing the memory horribly. I think that was probably taken 12 years ago in Rarotonga. And what I particularly liked was the the guy down the bottom right. He was taken by the camera, and I originally thought of titling it, you know, take our photo. And it so happened when Alia Jan, as a well-known PSN judge, was here in Christchurch a couple of weeks ago, we were looking at some pictures together. She said, no, this is not the story about them trying to get you to take their photo. It's just their expressions. That's where the story is. So in the archives, if you go deep enough and keep them well enough, occasionally you get a picture that helps you.
all their expressions are fabulous. Thank you. Oh, yes, John, yes. Did you take this on the Laurie Thomas? I thought so, because we did the ice things. Would you like to tell us about that? Thank you.
Yeah, Nick got it right. It's a double exposure in camera. The first one was the trees in the water. That's why you can see a bit of a ripple. And then I found a really horrible slushy pond with some nice leaves in it, which were covered in silt. But the colours did come out. Maybe I twitched a few colours a wee bit. But yeah, essentially that's all it was in camera. It was great. Laurie Thomas, come again.
A creative license. It looks very pleasing. Okay, was anybody else would like to talk about their image? Well, we've got a few minutes. Who have we got here? Janine. Now, what did you do? Did you flip it? It's intriguing. I was going to say it's intriguing.
So it's a standard warehouse at Arrowtown that's been photographed 100 times, and I climbed up the hill, and it was quite pretty. It was early in the morning, but there was a big bank of rubbish bins on the right-hand side immediately in front of that hedge, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have to hide those somehow. And then I realised it was symmetrical, so I flipped it, and the trees on the left were much nicer. There's a big bare patch on the right, and I quite liked the way it created the arch at the top with the trees. So, yeah, not exactly a composite, a flip. Yeah.
It's got a sort of a fairy tale element to it, I think. I really like it. Okay, have we got any other business that anybody wants to talk about tonight? We're just about finished, I think. I finished early. Thank you all for coming. And I'd like to thank, I don't know who's at the back. Is it Wayne hiding at the back? Yes? Andrew, is it? I can't see. I see a hand. I don't know who it belongs to. So thank you very much. Thank Dawn for reading the critiques, Alan for running the slideshow. Dennis, did you open tonight, Dennis? No, well, and Adrienne for closing. And yeah, I hope you all have a good week and safe drive home. Thank you for coming. Bye. And don't forget your cameras next week.
Thank you.